This is Greg. He's thinking of a 5-digit number. Its first and last digits are the same. Their summation is an even number. And their multiplication is an odd number which is equal to the 4th digit in Greg's imaginary number. If we subtract 5 from it, we'll get the 2nd digit. And if we divide this 2nd digit into half, we'll get the 3rd digit. What number is Greg thinking of? Ready to find out the answer? 34,293. Greg is a reporter for a travel magazine. Today, he enjoys his day off at a beach party. Suddenly, a famous travel blogger, Sergio, shows up at the dance floor. Greg grabs his phone and takes just one picture of Sergio before his battery runs out of power. The next day, he shows this photo at work and receives a promotion. Can you guess why? Take a look at Sergio's feet. It's a full moon and he's turning into a werewolf. That's why this picture is so exclusive. In the evening, Greg returns from work and goes to the bathroom to brush his teeth. Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? In reality, Greg is holding a tube of toothpaste in his left hand. But in the mirror reflection, he's got nothing in his hand. There is a tree growing in Greg's backyard. It doubles in height each year until it reaches its maximum height within 10 years. How many years did it take for a tree to reach half of its maximum height? Since we know that the height of the tree doubles every year, the correct answer is 9 years. Greg is having a family dinner. Meet his sisters, Bella and Stella. They were born to the same mother on the same day, at the same time, and in the same month and year. But yet, they're not twins. How come? Bella and Stella are two of a set of triplets. The next day, Greg returns to work and makes a report about two travel bloggers, Jake and Mike. They're hiking in the woods separately. Can you guess who has more chances to survive this night by just looking at these pictures? Can you see a cobra hiding in Mike's tent? Mosquito bites are usually not life-threatening, unlike snake venom. Therefore, Jake has more chances to survive. Greg has lost his phone in the office. He's been searching for his missing gadget for several hours. Suddenly, Greg gets an anonymous email saying the following. Can you guess what's written here? It's just written in reverse order. If you read it from right to left, the message turns into, "Your phone is hidden in the lobby of this building. Bring $300 and I will tell you where exactly." Greg goes to the lobby and spots something very odd about this place. Can you see it too? Look at the TV. They show different programs in reality and in the mirror. Greg is meeting his friend Kyle in their favorite restaurant, but unfortunately, they're both broke. So they only order free water and one chicken sandwich to share. Greg and Kyle have a great time together and take some pictures. But an hour later, Kyle gets very sick and faints. Doctors find out that he was poisoned. Let's take a look at the pictures that the guys took at the restaurant. Can you spot where the poison was? Kyle put pepper in his half of the sandwich, and Mike didn't, so the poison was in the pepper pot. Greg decides to take a walk home through a forest, and eventually he gets lost. There are 3 possible routes to the final destination. The first path leads through a village inhabited by vampires. The second path is full of toxic mold that can make any human lose their mind. And the third path leads through an enchanted forest that turns all human beings into trees. Which way should Greg choose? The first option is the safest. It's a sunny day and the vampires are probably sleeping. On the way, Greg meets a goblin. The creature offers him a deal.
If you crack my riddle, I'll let you go, but if not, I'll wake all the vampires up and you'll never leave this forest.
Greg agrees. Here's the riddle.
How can you drop a raw egg from a height onto a concrete floor without cracking it?
Ready to hear the correct answer? Concrete floors are very hard to crack. The next day, Greg is preparing an article about a safari park. He has these 2 options to illustrate his work. Can you spot 5 differences between them? Here they are. And now Greg's task is to find a model for their advertising campaign. He looks through pictures of these 4 models. Which lady is different from the others? This one, because she has shorter hair. Greg goes to the local food court and purchases some chicken nuggets for lunch. He puts his lunchbox on a table and leaves for a minute to wash his hands and get a fork. Then, Greg comes back and finds out that his lunch is missing. Greg interrogates 3 people nearby. Megan says,
I didn't even look at your food. It wouldn't fit me anyway. I'm on a vegan diet.
I was taking pictures of my croissant for social media. You can see it for yourself if you don't believe me. And Peter says,
Sir, I don't steal food. It's against my principles.
After hearing what they had to say, Greg knows for sure who's the thief. What about you? Megan said that Greg's food wasn't vegan, but how does she know that if she hasn't even looked at it? Busted! Greg wants to bring a sweet treat to his coworkers. He has 2 jars of chocolates labeled as V and C. If he moves one chocolate from the V jar to the C, the number of chocolates in the V jar will become twice the number of chocolates in the C jar. But if he moves one chocolate from jar C to V, the number of chocolates in both the jars will become equal. Can you figure out the number of chocolates in each jar respectively? The V jar has 5 chocolates, and jar C has 7. Greg returns to the office and discovers that someone broke his chair. He interrogates 3 coworkers. Will says, I was at a business meeting for the last 3 hours. I've just returned to my workplace and I didn't notice your chair. Fiona says, I took Peter's chair today because someone took mine, but I didn't approach your desk. And Peter says,
I spent the whole day at my workplace, but I didn't look around because I had very important work to do.
Who's lying? Peter is sitting on a chair with an inscription of his name. Therefore, Fiona's story is fake. Greg goes to an opening of a new fancy hotel. In the buffet area, he meets these 3 people. Each claims to be a billionaire, but 2 of them are lying. Can you spot the real billionaire? the first lady sneaked a gold fork from the table and hid it in her hair. If she's really rich, she doesn't need to steal cutlery. And the second guy is wearing shoes that are too small for him, so he probably borrowed them from someone else's feet. Therefore, only the third lady is a billionaire. Greg is planning to spend a night in the hotel. Only 3 rooms are available at the moment. A room on the 15th floor with a mind-blowing view, a fancy penthouse with a huge jacuzzi, and a standard double room on the 4th floor. Can you help Greg choose the best option? The first option doesn't exist because the hotel is only 10 stories. And there are cracks inside this jacuzzi. It's not safe to take a bath in this room. So Greg should pick the 3rd room. Hey, my dear detective, are you ready for a nice brain workout? Great, then let's get started.
Yeah.
William decided to go on vacation for a month. He went to a bank and asked for a loan of $500. The bank officer told the guy that the loan could only be approved if he mortgaged some valuables at the bank. William said he would mortgage his car, whose worth was a whopping $80,000. The bank officer was surprised, but he approved the loan instantly. After William's vacation was over, he came back to the bank. The bank officer asked him why he had mortgaged such an expensive car for such a small loan. William told him the reason, and the bank officer admitted it was a very clever plan. What did William say? The guy said that he mortgaged his car to keep his expensive vehicle safe while he was away. Plus, he saved a lot of money on parking. Miranda is practicing her dance steps together with her friends. In a particular sequence, all of them form a row. At that point, Miranda is the 4th from either side of the row. Can you figure out how many girls are practicing together? In total, there are 7 girls. Miranda is the 4th from either end of the row, which means there are 3 girls on one of her sides and 3 on the other. Ethan and his girlfriend took a flight to New York and reached their destination in 2.5 hours. After spending some quality time together, they flew back home. Surprisingly, this time it took them 150 minutes, even though the plane flew at the same speed. How is it possible? It's easy. 2.5 hours are the same as 150 minutes. Look at this matchstick arrangement. Do you see a donkey-shaped figure? Your task is to move just one matchstick to change the direction of its movement. That's how you can do it. 4 men can build 4 tables in 4 hours. In this case, how many tables will 8 men build in 8 hours? Was your first instinct to say 8 tables? Because that's what immediately came to my mind. But in fact, the correct answer is 16 tables. And it actually makes sense, because 8 men worked twice as long as 4 men. Look at these people attentively. Who do you think is in greater danger? The lion won't necessarily attack the man, of course, if he doesn't provoke the animal. If the guy tries his best to look unthreatening, the lion might simply ignore him. But the snake can easily tighten its grip, which can end very badly for this woman. Mark came to visit his friends in Chicago. While they were having dinner, they told the guy about a mysterious building in their city. It had a very bad reputation. People said that those who once entered it never came back. Despite his friend's warnings, Mark decided to explore the building. The place looked creepy, and soon the guy realized he was lost. Whatever he did, he couldn't spot the exit. Suddenly, he found himself in a large room. There were 4 doors in this room. Behind the first door, there was a mummy. Behind the second door, a vampire was hiding. The third door led to a den of a hungry wolf. And behind the fourth door, there was a ghost. Which door should Mark opt for to get out of the house unscathed? The mummy can potentially be very dangerous. The vampire behind the second door is also far from friendly. The wolf, especially hungry, can easily attack a person. At the same time, the ghost is relatively harmless. Mark should choose the fourth door. Now, look at this image. Can you figure out which man is the girl's husband? Have you noticed that the woman and the man on the right are wearing identical wedding rings? That's the clue we need. Marta got into a trap set by a powerful witch. The girl got locked in a jail cell, and the only thing that could help her escape was a special magic elixir. Marta found 3 jars. The liquid from the first one could turn her into a superwoman. The second jar contained the liquid that turned people into zombies, and if Marta drank the elixir from the third jar, she would turn into a vampire. The effect of each elixir could last for half an hour. Which of them should Marta drink? Marta should wait till the morning and drink the elixir from the third jar. Then she'd be able to turn into a bat and fly out that tiny window. Can you figure out which of these women is alive? It's the woman on the right. Unlike the lips of the other 2 girls, her lips are red and plump. Plus, her hair is still growing. If you watch a time-lapse of them lying there, you can notice that the length of her hair is changing. Poor people have it, but rich people need it. If you eat it, you won't survive. What is it? It's nothing. Now this next riddle is kinda funny. To solve it, you need to think outside the box. Why are all the rivers in the world rich? They have 2 banks. Now, did you get it right? Imagine you're running a marathon, and right before the finish line, you pass by the person who's running the second. What place are you in now? You're still in second place. You've been faster than the person in second place, but not first. I can sting without moving. I can poison without touching. I can bear the truth and the lies. You can't judge me by my size. What am I? A word. You measure its life in hours and minutes, and it serves you by expiring. It's quick when it's thin and slow when it's fat. Its biggest enemy is the wind. The longer it lives, the smaller it becomes. What is it? A candle. You probably know that ants move in groups. In one such group, there were 2 ants in front of the other 2 ants, 2 ants behind the other 2 ants, and 2 ants next to the other 2 ants. How many ants were there in the group? A small hint. You probably won't need your calculator to crack this riddle. Even if it may seem there were a lot of ants in the group, in reality, there were just 4. They simply stood in a square formation. Did you get it right? There are some flowers growing in the field and some bees flying over them. How many flowers and bees are there if both of the following statements are true? If all the bees land on all the flowers, 1 bee for a flower, 1 bee won't get a flower. If every 2 bees decide to share a flower, 1 flower will be left without a bee. How fast will you be able to find the answer? There are 4 bees and 3 flowers. Once, Mrs. Smith, Peter, Paul, and Patrick's mom heard a loud sound of shattering glass coming from the living room. She ran into the room and saw that her favorite vase was broken. She also spotted a football. She asked her sons what had happened, and each of them told her his own version of the accident. Peter said that Paul hadn't kicked the ball. He added that he knew for sure that Patrick had done this. Paul said that Patrick wasn't guilty. He also added that he hadn't finished his homework. And Patrick said that Paul had broken the vase, and he knew that for sure because Peter didn't play football at home. How could Mrs. Smith understand who broke the vase if the following is true? 1 boy lied in both of his statements. 2 boys told the truth. Now, have you noticed that only one of Paul's statements is related to the accident? The one in which he says that Patrick isn't guilty? What he says about his homework changes nothing. The first of Peter's statement contradicts Patrick's first words and vice versa. This means that it's impossible for both of them to tell the truth. Peter and Paul can't both tell the truth as Paul's words contradict Patrick's second phrase. That's why Patrick and Paul can't lie, meaning that Peter lied in both of his statements. This way, Paul has broken the vase.